It's now time to listen to António Goncalves. Can we start?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, António. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to speak about Edugep and our accomplishments. And so I am very happy to be here and to share some things with you guys.
Just a few words about you, if you don't mind. I have to present you to our colleagues. António Goncalves is a teacher. Biology, isn't it, António?
Yes.
You're subject. Yes. He holds a degree on biology. He worked for many years in the public system. But once he is going to talk about it, he and a friend decided to start a private enterprise to carry on the work that they have been done till then within the educational Portuguese system. To provide different services, educational services that he is going to explain to the public Portuguese system. This is a very interesting kind of collaboration. I dare to say a symbiotic relationship between the public system and the educational enterprise. So I hope you enjoy what António is going to share with us. Go ahead, António, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are you seeing the presentation?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's very nice.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, as I told, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pity that we can't be in the context where we can have a face-to-face session, but I hope that soon it's possible that when normally we'll be resumed in our days. My presentation will consist of 5 parts. First, I will make a brief exposition of Edugep, which is a private company that works in education and training and covers a public that ranges from preschool to adults in 7 different areas of activity. This presentation will be made in a short video that illustrates our activities, of which I will speak in particular of 3, which will be presented in the following points. The second part will address modular training for employed and unemployed adults with a brief characterization of the system and presenting the execution data of the 2 programs that we developed in 2020. In part 3, I will present one of the most recent areas of work of Edugep, the VET courses for young people, a dual training that confers dual academic and professional certification. Finally, in part 4 deals with the larger area of Edugep, curriculum enrichment, which includes curriculum enrichment activities, animation, and family support activities, and the family support component. So I will start with a small video.
The intervention of Edugep is sustained on the will and the conviction that our clients deserve to have at their disposition excellent services. We believe that the future requires the ability to face, in an affirmative and successful way, the exigence on a scenario of change and uncertainty, so that our intervention is based on a global notion. Considering the multidimensional nature of reality, allowing a balanced development and achievement of customer goals, and a successful response in society. Edugep is a company recognized by the Ministry of Education as a non-formal education entity, certified by DGERT and within the scope of ISO 9001:2015. We assure specialized technical and human resources that support our activity, having a high number of collaborators with masters and doctorates, respecting the principles of gender equality. Why Edugep? Triply certified institution. Excellent results from our projects. Professional and qualified management. Excellence in the services provided. Professionalism, qualification, and stability of human resources. Diversity of the services offered adapted to clients' needs. Cutting-edge technology support. Cordiality and availability of staff. Excellent value for money. In our activity, we have established partnerships based on mutual trust and common goals, of which we highlight Institute of Education, University of Lisbon, ICT Teachers National Association, Palmela Regional Conservatory, Setúbal Football Association, Laredo Chess Club, Portuguese Association of Parents and Friends of the Deficient Citizen, Setúbal Municipality, NOS Association, Novabit, Promethean, Setúbal Humanitarian Association of the Volunteer Firemen, Setúbal Polytechnic Institute. We are members of Ulysses European Union Training and Research EEIG, ISET, Setúbal Peninsula Industrial Association. We are a socially responsible company with all stakeholders, guaranteeing equal opportunities, and we have supported a number of initiatives with impact on the communities where we work.
Edugep started in November 2018 a project that aims to develop a set of actions that promotes the inclusion of publics that are longer limited to the labor market and that are holders of low qualifications, which are undergoing demotivation and loss of skills that make it difficult to participate in working and employment measures for the unemployed, in particular in sustained professional qualification process, supporting a more famous and sustained return to the labor market, and also for the employed in risk of losing their jobs and those seeking to upgrade their skills. So what is modular training? Short-term courses that update or improve the theoretical and practical knowledge of the Portuguese adult population, also raising their educational and professional qualification levels. And to whom it's designed? For adults, employed or unemployed, age 18 or over, who want to improve their skills in areas of general or specific scope of their profession, or to acquire new set of skills or competencies. These modules aim to adjust between personal employment plans and the potential and individual needs of each trainee to improve their employability and also to support unemployed return to the market through quick integration into short-term training, enabling them to acquire relevant skills or enhance skills already held, enabling the way to qualification. Edugep's modular training in 2020 involved 2 strands in 2 different areas of the country and with the different audiences. Thus, we finalized an action financed by POIS in the Alentejo for the unemployed, which we have been developing since 2018 and which had a great reach, reaching even 104% of the project objectives. We had 83 courses of 25 and 50 hours were carried out for 1,519 trainees with a total duration of 2,975 hours and a certification rate of 96.5%. On the other hand, we started a new project in Lisboa e Val do Tejo, which is the second one we have done here, and which is for employees. Will be until 2021. This program has been a little delayed because of the pandemic, but even so, 10 classes were carried out, essentially in e-learning, which involved 197 trainees in 300 hours of training with a certification rate of 94%. The training areas are those defined as priorities in European programs by the Portuguese government, and although we have 17 different certified areas, we are working in 7. Under the responsibility of the Unemployment and Vocational Training Institute, vocational and education training courses are attributed to private training entities by the EAFP, the Institute for Employment and Professional Training. when their internal capacity does not reach the offer. Companies are recognized for their ability and are certified for. These courses enable a school and professional certification, level 4, and it is intended for applicants still under 25 years old, having the level 3 completed, but without secondary education. The learning courses allow obtaining an academic and professional certification, favoring their insertion in the work market, enhanced by a strong training component carried out in a real context of work, but also allowing higher level studies. The apprenticeship courses are initial vocational training courses aimed at young people, privileging their insertion in the labor market and allowing the continuation of studies. Aimed for young people in transition to work and those already in the labor market without secondary or equivalent qualifications to improve employability and social and professional inclusion levels. They are sometimes considered let's say, the end of the line for students that have not accomplished success in regular schools. Recognition of the formative potential of work situation through a greater appreciation of the intervention and the formative contribution of the companies, assuming them as true training spaces, generators of learning progression. Alternation regime, understood as the interaction between theoretical and practical training, and the contexts in which they take place, and practical training carried out in the alternating support entities, is distributed progressively throughout the course. These are real dual training courses, and during the course development, care is taken to combine the various components of the curriculum to maintain the interest of the students, namely the interval of classes with experience in the work context, supervised professional internship, to integrate theory in practice and promote other skills needed in the labor market, such as responsibility, commitment, and professional pride. Training activities should be organized according to the schedule set between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. with a daily workload of 6 to 7 hours, corresponding to a weekly workload of 30 to 35 hours and last for about 18 to 20 months. They have no school holidays and only the holidays that usually a labor market gets. The trainees do get a subsidy for meals and transportation, and they get an academic and professional certification that allows them to go to the labor market or to proceed their studies. Edugep has recently invested in providing this training offer, and the courses under development will not be completed until the next year. So success rates are not yet available. Computer system technician, communication, marketing, public relations, and advertising technician, and computer system technician are attended by around 80 students in 5 courses. In the 3 locals where we operate, in Setúbal, Almada, and Quinta do Conde, with partnerships with local associations like Almada Mundo, Eagle Intuition, and Cristóvão Colombo School. Edugep Curriculum Enrichment is a complete service for educational communities. Its project of organizing curriculum enrichment activities is based on a professional organization that responds to the school's needs, carried out by highly qualified professionals. The offer of the curriculum enrichment activities is mandatory and free of charge, and registration and attendance are optional. It's Edugep's most important area of action and started in 2007. Whenever I address the issue of curriculum enrichment, I remember that not so long ago in this country, not all parents had the possibility to offer diversified activities to their children. I am aware of my situation, and I remember that if I wanted my son to learn English, I had to put him in a language school and, of course, pay for it. If I understood that learning ICT was important for him and for his future, I had to enroll him in Future Kids. That was, at the time, ICT school for kids, and of course, pay. And if I wanted him to practice some sport, I had to sign him for a club and pay. And then I had to be a private Uber walking around with him, or if it was not possible for professional reasons, to either a shuttle and pay again, or alternatively, put him in a private school if I was able to afford it. So when the concept of the full-time school appeared, the democratization of access to a set of subjects that were not available for everyone was clearly very important for parents. But curiously, it created some acceptance problems on the part of the teachers who saw appearing new actors in the school that was, until then, theirs alone. Today, the full-time school is regulated by government diploma and coordinated by the General Directorate of School Establishments, GEST, which, depending on the situations, can delegate to municipalities or local agents. In places where Edugep works, a partnership agreement is usually made between Edugep, the parents' associations, and the Directorate of School Groups, which is validated by GEST and which, depending on the location, can take three forms: curriculum enrichment activities, always there present, the family support component, and the family support and animation activities. I will now present a bit of these three situations. Edugep develops curriculum enrichment activities in schools, articulating that service with management school boards and parent associations. It is a project that aims to complete the curriculum in schools with sports activities, art, or languages identified by the school management and are directed for the primary school students. These activities are named curricular enrichment. Some will say extracurricular activities, which is wrong because these activities are not outside of the curriculum, because they include culture, education, knowledge, study, and they are formative, cultural, and playful nature, which complement the curriculum components and contribute to training or education, and for fun or giving pleasure, and for seeing the curriculum as a set of learning outcomes. The curriculum enrichment activities organized by Edugep have an organizational matrix that offers school services of excellence that meet their needs and expectations of schools and parents' associations. Organize the curriculum enrichment activities respecting the educational and curricular projects of the schools in which they are implemented. This means that the activities are for the schools and from the schools and not Edugep's. Contribute to educational purposes defined by each group, and closely monitor the development of activities in each school, which is an important control factor of the quality of the activities. In the organizational structure, we have as a very relevant the existence of a coordination team that monitors the activities very, very closely. A telephone answering service that rivals any major brand and solves problems 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. The activities are 100% accomplished thanks to a replacement system that allows us to replace teachers when they are absent and allows Edugep to have a better absenteeism rates than the schools where we work. We also support the school's activities, educational projects, either through human or material resources, and sometimes by organizing activities with and for them. It is often also thanks to us that the curriculum is linked to enrichment, making these activities, despite being provided by an external identity, an integral part of the school life. The definition of the activities held that are implemented in the school cluster is done by the pedagogical structures, namely the pedagogical council and the coordination of activities, It's made by a coordination team that makes follow-up visits as agreed with school cluster. These follow-up visits are one very important issue regarding the quality of the activities, and it's the way that we can perceive how things are happening in each school. The resources and activities developed are made available for activities and support for the educational project of each school cluster. And last but not least, the assessment, that is very important because we consider the following parameters: execution of activities, the performance of human resources, learning carried out by the students, project coordination and management, support to the educational project of the school cluster. And we have several instruments that allows us to get the information about all these points. All activities are developed in accordance with the requests and preference of the schools, and even when the options do not make sense, we implement them. As you can see, I'm sorry this is not in English, but we have here a whole wide range of activities that we develop in different schools. For instance, dance, music, drama, ICT, English, robotics, coding, philosophy, school farm, animation of the book and of the reading, experimental science, traditional games, mindfulness, sports activities, and so many more. It's 24 different activities that we perform, and most of them are requested and developed for the schools. The family support component allows parents and guardians to leave children in school with extended follow-up before and after school schedules. So it allows them to ensure the monitoring and supervision of learners at a compatible time with their work. So family support component is connected with the curricular activities and the enrichment activities, curricular enrichment activities, and it's a complement. The family support component in the first cycle of basic education is another dimension that needs to be ensured. The concern of the Ministry of Education and Science is to ensure that the monitoring of students of this level of education in periods that go beyond the curricular component and during periods of academic interruption. For instance, in Christmas, Easter, and in the summer when parents need to have some place where to leave their kids. The family support component should be organized to tighten the commitment between the school, the students' families, and the local community, and it's held in the public schools where the kids are. The family support and animation activities are aimed at children between 3 and 6 years old and allow parents and guardians maintaining their children in an educational environment by an adjusted price to their financial conditions. In preschool education, it is necessary to ensure monitoring of children before and after the period of educational activities and during periods of interruption of these activities. Bearing in mind the need to guarantee the quality of the activities, curriculum enrichment as well as the support component for activities and family support activities aims to regulate the rules of organization and operation of schools and their offerings. Animation and family support activities are planned by the competent bodies of school clusters, taking into account the needs of students and families, articulating with the municipalities of their area in accordance with the cooperation protocol. So these activities are the same as the enrichment curricular activities, but for the to finalize, I would like to show you some numbers of our activities on last year. We had activities in 11 school clusters, which involve 48 schools, 285 classes, 6,363 students, and 241 teachers. In the family support and animation activities, we worked with 14 kindergartens and 433 students, 32 teachers, 16 assistants, and in the family support component, we had 15 services, 406 students, 18 teachers, 13 assistants, and in the vacation activities, more than 210 students. I would like to finish with a very short movie about our activities in the schools. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks.
Antonio, thanks a lot. And now Antonio is ready to answer your questions. We already have a question from Johan in the chat. Can we start with answers? Okay, so Antonio.
Yes,
please
well,
go ahead.
The first question is about the recruitment of the human resources for the modules and the qualification. Well, the system of the modular training is a system that is as an entity that coordinates and that makes a supervision, which is Edugep. It's an institution of the Portuguese state that supervises all the companies, private companies and others that need a certification for this kind of work. So we have to comply with a certain number of regulations. And when we contract the trainers for those modules, we have also to find the ones that first have scientific or professional qualification for the intended module. And second, they have a pedagogical qualification. If they are teachers from regular school and regular system, which can work also in this modular training, they have already the needed qualifications. If we are, for instance, doing an English module, we go and try to find an English teacher, for instance, or someone who is a trainer specific for English. And if he's not a teacher, is a professional, for instance, we are in a marketing module and we go for an expert in marketing that works in a company, but he also must have a pedagogical competence certificate. If he has what is in Portugal, we call it is the CCP. It means a certificate for pedagogical competencies, and is and certificate that attests that the person is able to give training. So we need to comply with these situations. So it's there, the recruitment. For instance, in Edugep, we have a database with more or less 2,000 trainers and teachers. And so when we need someone, we go to that database, or we go to the companies that have specific skills, and with the professionals that have specific skills, that if you want a very specific module, for instance, in catering, if we want to have a specific chef that is very good and works with, for instance, in some kind of pastry that we want to teach a module about that, we can go if this chef has the as I said, CCP. On the other hand, all the modules that we work are in a national catalog, which is a national certification system, and all the modules are already there, and we can see what competencies they will give, so we can work and make the selection of the trainers on the basis of those qualifications that the module are intended. So I hope I have answered the question and enlightened you about that. Okay. Another question here is, can you tell us about the dual training? Do you have a list of companies which you cooperate with? Yes. This is a very important part for the dual training system. And it's, for once, it's a great opportunity for students, because when they go to the companies, usually they have some kind of transformation because they are in the labor market. Even is in training, but they are there. And so this is a great opportunity, but also is a huge problem, because sometimes companies don't understand the importance of have trainees, and they don't understand that when they have trainees, they can see if they are fit for them. And so it's a way to recruiting human resources very effective. For instance, in Edugep, we receive trainees from universities and other schools that work in different areas, because for us it's very important. And we have more than 50% of recruitment rate from trainees that have been in Edugep. So we think it's very important, but sometimes companies don't understand this importance. And for that, it's a problem to find the suitable companies for that. But one of our biggest helps are the trainers. So the trainers that are in the course, that are responsible for the theoretical modules, most of the times they work with us in trying to find those companies. So we are every day, every year, we are growing this list of companies, and also we evaluate the way as the internships go. If the internships go well and if it's positive, we will keep the company. If not, we will change and we don't send them for that company in the next year. Okay. Okay. From Slovenia, 2 questions. Who finances Edugep? Is funding divided? How many employees do you have? Do you outsource professionals that conduct activities? Okay. This is a very financial question. Okay, so yes, this is a very important question for us. Of course, we are a private company. We need to be very cautious with these situations. Okay, Edugep has different areas of activity. As I said, we have 7 different areas of activity. Some of them are strictly and purely commercial. We depend on our clients. If we have clients we are paid by them, individual or enterprises, because we work with students. We have a language school, we have a coding school with the private clients. So the clients go to Edugep and individual they pay. Also, if are companies that contract us. But in Portugal, more usually, there is the other side, that is the training that is provided by the state, by the Ministry of Labor or my Ministry of Education, that they contract private companies because they don't have the ability to do everything by themselves, and because there is something else that is a question very important, is that sometimes, or most of the times, private companies can do better with less money. And so the state finances private companies to do better things and cheaper. For instance, the modular training and the VET that Edugep develops are financed by the Ministry of Labor, and we receive an amount that is due by the volume of training. So we are financed by that, and as we administrate these funds is how we can get paid by our work. Despite there are different ways of funding. For instance, in modular training, the financing is what they call real costs. So we have to provide evidence for every expense that we do. For instance, the insurance of the trainees, when we pay some scholarship fees for the students, and when we pay the trainers, all of that must be explained to the cent. This is what we call real costs funding. On the other hand, on the VET courses, it's the system that is funded by the Institute of Employment. It's called funding with simplified costs. In this case, they say if we have 10 students, you get an amount for that by month. So we have to manage that amount, and it's what we call simplified costs, because we don't have, in this case, to tell them and to show how we spend every cent. It's it's already established that they give that amount, so we have to manage with that. For instance, in enrichment curricular activities, the funding is made by student. They pay us an amount for student according to the hours that we minister. For instance, we get an amount, an yearly amount for student that we must manage, and that if we spend too much, they don't give us more, and so we have to be working with that. So regarding the professionals that conduct the activities, so Edugep has at the moment more or less 30 professionals working in full-time. The others, we have more or less 250, 260 let's say outsourcing. It means that there are trainers that they are not from Edugep, that we pay them for the services they provide, and it's the most of the workers that we have, and they are mainly teachers and trainers. Okay. The second question is, how do you connect with schools? Do they reach out to Edugep? Do you promote Edugep at schools? Well, both. Sometimes we do what we say, we must say it's a commercial activity. So we try to schedule meetings with the school boards. We try to present what Edugep does. We try to convince them to hire us. With the schools is like that. And Sometimes schools, when are not satisfied with the service they have, sometimes they here say they work well, we are happy with them, and we get contact. So it's with the schools is more or less like this. We have both ways. We promote and we get contacts from schools by the word of mouth, as people usually say. Okay. So I have another question here. The question is, when the students complete the requalification in the firm, can they continue as employees? Yes, for sure. When we work with modular training for employees, usually is because they think they need to get some more qualifications. They need to get, as you say here, requalification, so they can get a better performance. In some areas, things are changing very quickly. For instance, the digitalization of the economy, the digitalization of the companies is nowadays one of the most important things that is undergoing in Portuguese economy. So the ICT area is an area very needed. So the employees go to these courses that they are free for them, because they are paid by European programs, and they improve their qualifications. So they usually stay in their jobs because they are really working for that. Okay, we have here a question from Hungary, and it says, we are trying to figure out how Edugep works. Is it a project financed by the government, or is it an NGO, or is it a private enterprise? How is it financed? How many people work for Edugep? What is your relationship with the ministry, contractual? Are there other enterprises applying for this? Is the ministry considering scaling up initiatives like this, specifically Edugep? As far as we understand, it is not covering the whole country. Is it planning to do so? Are activities provided by Edugep explicit part of the curriculum? Okay, I think I have already answered some of these questions. We are, of course, a private company. We have different models of financing depending on the activities that we do. There is no idea of making and scaling of these initiatives for us, but in the ministry, the initiatives are covering the whole country. For instance, the modular training and the VET courses are made by by tenders, and we apply for the tenders, and we win or we lose. For instance, at the moment, we have two projects going. One is finishing this year in Alentejo for unemployed, and we have started a new one in the region of Lisbon for employed. We have another one for the next 2 years, so 21 and 22 for Alentejo, and it's also modular for in this case for employed persons. So and a project for 2 years is more or less something about 300,000 euros. And there are projects all over the country, and we can apply for them for tenders whenever we feel we are comfortable to work. At the moment, with our structure and with our dimension, we work in Alentejo and in the Lisbon region. But we could, of course, if we had structure, we think so, to go and to work in other areas. There are some companies that work in the training that have a wide country action. So they work in the north, the center, and the south, and they apply for tenders in all of the country. This is the work for the modular and VET courses. For the Ministry of Education and for the kindergarten and for the enrichment curricular activities, this is Ministry of Education, and these are situations that have local contracts. That we work with the parents' associations and with municipalities, also in the region of Lisbon and Alentejo. And these are made, the program is a whole country program. So there are enrichment activities all over the country, but with very different models. There are private companies, there are associations, there are parents associations, there are EPSS or NGO organizations. It's a lot of different situations. So regarding the last part, if the activities are an explicit part of the curriculum, yes, they are. And for instance, the VAT, it's a defined, well-defined curriculum. It's, as I said, in the national system of qualifications. For the kids and in the Ministry of Education, it's also an explicit part of the curriculum, despite this is not a mandatory one. So it's for the parents that want and need this situation. Okay. Another question, and I think is the last one. Does your institution operate nationally or just locally? How many premises do you have yourself, or whether you provide courses in school and community centers? Do you train the trainers yourself, or do you hire them from the job centers, for examples? Okay. This question, I think I have answered already part of it. So at the moment we operate locally, and we have premises only of ourselves only in Setúbal, which is 40 kilometers south of Lisbon. And on the other sides where we work, we have local partnerships to use facilities so we can develop our courses. And the other ones, we work in schools for the kids, for the primary level and for kindergarten. We work in the public schools. So we are in their installations and we work in their premises. The trainers, well, we have we usually do training of trainers ourselves, but it's not mandatory. So we usually, what we have is always have the recruitment open, and we receive lots of curriculums. So people know that Edugep works in these areas. So they send us spontaneously curriculum. And as I said, we have a huge database of trainees and of teachers. So we go to that database and we contract them. Sometimes we do training, and we do training of trainers also. One more question that has just arrived means that are trainees paid for their work during the internship, dual education, and their costs are covered, for example, costs of traveling to a workplace to help them to manage training and a new qualification? Well, yes, they are paid. They have a payment that they have monthly, and we pay transports also. So these costs are covered. And for instance, for those who have kids, we also pay the kindergarten or a nanny for them. So yes, this kind of these VAT courses, they have an amount that the trainees receive every month, depending on attendance, of course, because if they don't go, if they lack school or they lack their classes, they don't get the full scholarship. So yes, it's a system that pays them and gives them some money to help them to get to the qualification.
Thank you very much, António. It was excellent, I think, from my point of view. All the questions were answered, a lot of questions, I must say. I think that it's now time for lunch break. And maybe Adele wants to say some words.
Yes. Thank you, Ana Paula, and thank you for our presenter. It was, I think, excellent, and thank you for the inspiration as well. And I would like to share the information with you that we put a file in the chat. So please try to download it. But anyway, as far as I know, you received it also in your email box. And unfortunately, it's not a present from Santa, but it's a paper that we would like to ask you to read through during the weekend. It's a kind of a homework for you, because we would like to work with this paper on Monday. Okay? I hope this is okay for you.
Beatriz already put the draft on the chat. If you want to download it from there, it's okay. But Filipa already sent it over to your emails. So this is up to you to check your emails or download it immediately from the chat.
Thank you. Thank you for the colleagues.
Once again, thanks a lot, António. It was really a pleasure and a very interesting lesson. And I hope our colleagues profit from your contribution. And now I'm saying bye-bye to António. See you and have a good lunch, everybody.
Thank you very much.